Hello, everyone, and welcome. I'm Beastly Eel, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about the latest episode of The Boys. So, this episode was different than most of the other episodes we've ever had. This was more of a. I want to. This is going to sound very weird. In the grand scheme of time wise, of like in the story itself, this was a short episode. However, it was broken up into multiple parts to see all the different angles from all the different characters. So we got an angle from Black Noir. We got an angle from Black Noir. We got an angle from Soldier Boy. We got an angle from Sister Sage. We got an angle from Terror. I think that's how you say his name. Who is Butcher's dog. And I think that's it. I think that's all of them. I actually think that's all of them. Yeah, that's all of them. So we find out about Black Noir, who is doing theater on the side. He really wants to build his character, like his skill level up. Nobody knows that he's Black Noir, obviously, so he's just a regular guy who's doing some just stage stuff. He starts to get advice from his director at the time, who happens to be the director of um, I believe he was the director of The Seven, The Rise of the Seven, I believe. But don't quote me on that. So anyway, so the idea is he's getting built up. He basically, the director tells him that if this guy's giving you a hard time, outact him, outperform him, do better things than you've ever done before, and he won't know what to do. So the idea is he's doing all this great stuff. He's on a podcast with is it Allfather? I forget what his name is, but it's the guy with the voice, the sonic voice, who is now running the church. So the idea is it's a lot of so basically they're trying to figure out a way to get Homelander to be God, basically, like get him to be represented as God. And the idea is it's not an easy sell. Like just jumping straight to God is a tough thing. And that's when we find out that Black Noir speaks and basically goes, "Hey, why don't we do like give Homelander a miracle on Easter Sunday?" Like the idea is like on the second come, like on what's supposed to be the second coming, he shows his miracles, and I now can speak and fly, and then that will cause everyone to see that he is incredible, meaning like he is the omnipotent one, and the guy's like, "That's actually pretty good. I'm gonna mention it to Homelander. Like that could be something that really gets people on his side immediately." And the Deep is not happy with that whatsoever. So he starts sneaking around to find out what Black Noir is doing. Finds out that he is doing a play, which is apparently not allowed in Homelander's America. And he basically orders an eel to swim through the pipes and eat out the butt of the director. Black Noir comes in to try to save him, pulls the eel out, kills it. However, unfortunately, the director dies. So Black Noir basically tries to attack the Deep. It says, "Who the hell are you? You destroyed my one chance of like feeling like somebody." And he's like, "You're lucky." He goes, "I own you now." He goes, "If I tell Homelander about you being in a sissy play, you're gonna be on the outside looking in, and I can promise you, you're gonna be destroyed like everyone else." So it does not go well for Black Noir, and he's basically under the Deep's thumb. So one of the things that I forgot to mention before all this was they were talking about trying to get Homelander to be considered God. Um, the thought was doing it on Easter. He's really hating the Bible by itself just because they're making it seem like he's being the second coming when he's himself. He is God. And they want to do it for Easter, and Firecracker basically states, "Well, why don't we do something different? Why don't we wait until we get the Bible all set up?" So she shows him the Homelander Bible, and I'm not gonna lie to you, Homelander was super excited for it. to the point where he really wanted it bad. Um, so anyway, we have that going on. We then have Sister Sage's story, which with Sister Sage, we find out what she wants, which is her manipulating everyone um, to do what she wants. So she speaks to Ashley and tries to get more information from her, basically trying to get from Soldier Boy what his thoughts are. And she really wanted Ashley's tumor in the back of her head than the real Ashley. So basically stating like, hey, like we need to find out what he's thinking because we need to figure out what we need to do. And so Ashley's just kind of like, well, what is your plan? And she's like, I'll tell you my plan. And she's like, I want the world to be destroyed. I want soups and humans killing each other to the point where there's nobody left. And she goes, I want to be in my bunker reading without having to be annoyed by anybody. And the one thing I need more than anything else is Homelander dead, because he will not give me a moment's peace if he's left alive. And basically just telling us exactly what she wants, which is bad. You know, she's trying to manipulate Soldier Boy to basically stop Homelander because she needs him gone. Um, and that's kind of the big issue that she's having because she doesn't truly know what's going on fully. I meaning Ashley. But also Sister Sage is having a difficult time predicting what everyone else is going to be doing at every moment. So she wants to make sure that she knows what's happening because Soldier Boy is a outlier. She can read Homelander like a book, but she cannot read Soldier Boy like she'd like because he seems to be a whole nother type of person. And so it kind of ends with Ashley leaving and the ambiguity of it all, of her going to speak to Soldier Boy, basically. So then we had Terra, who loved humping a stuffed animal or a chew toy of Homelander. Loved humping it like crazy. Starlight was going to go wash it. There was a lot of instances of hearing kind of what was going on and what their plan is, and that they have to figure out the virus and get it working, and everything else. And there's a lot of arguing between Huey and Butcher, basically stating that you know, we need to protect the people that we care about. He's like, man, we need to get rid of Homelander. Like that's more important than anything else. I cannot risk anything else. So anyway, we also have a moment with MM, who is, you know, taking stuff out of Teller's mouth and then eating it. And Butcher's just kind of like, what is your problem? Like, this is not you. And he's like, man, I finally realized like I'm gonna be dead. So like, what's the point of me caring? He's like, I don't want to have even a single thought in my head about what needs to be done, about anything. He's like, what about your wife and your kid? And he's like, I can't think of them because if I think of them, I will not do what needs to be done at the moment I need to do it, and then this whole plan is ruined. He goes, I need to just have a clear mind, not think about a damn thing, and just go in there willing to die. And if I do, I'm ready for it. And if not, well, great for me, but I'll cross that bridge when I get there. And Butcher kind of really sees the destruction of basically mother's milk at that point. So then we have Frenchie try to make a chocolate souffle, failed at it. Threw it out, and then Terror got it and started eating it. Butcher freaks out. Huey gets the hydrogen peroxide, pours it down Terror's throat. He throws up, and then they watch and wait to see what happens. Terror is good, and then gets to sleep with or hump the Homelander stuffed animal, which we had to watch. And then there was a little bit of interaction between Huey and Butcher, and he basically states, if we're given the chance and it's not going to kill us, we'll try to make a cure for those two. And he's like, and for you too. And he's like, doesn't say no, but very makes it very clear that he wants to be done at this point, which I thought was very interesting in and of itself. But we get to see a little bit of that Butcher where he's realizing that maybe I need to not be a complete jerk every second. So the last one. Nope, there's two more. So Soldier Boy. So Soldier Boy goes to try to figure out what's going on, and then he goes with Homelander to meet with Edgar. Basically stating, he threatens Edgar pretty easily, in a way that Homelander surprisingly wasn't prepared for. Homelander was so he's basically, why you haven't killed me yet? Like at this point, why haven't I died? And Soldier Boy's basically like, oh, he names a location. I think it was Arizona. And he's like, I don't know what that place is supposed to mean to me. He's like, that's where your granddaughter is, along with her father. And he goes, so we can go over there and remove her immediately and dissect her, basically. Or you can tell us where the V1 is. And he goes, I sincerely don't know where the V1 is. However, I think I know somebody who does, and it would be Marathon Man. And basically states that Homelander should know how to get a hold of him. So they go to LA to see Marathon Man, which is apparently the funniest interaction ever because Marathon Man was with every celebrity possible. Their Homelander's not happy to be there at all. They were basically, he's waiting there to find out about Bombshell coming to the building. So that way they can get a hold of him to get the V1. So what happens next is one of the other guys there has superpowers to create gas, and so he creates a knockout gas to knock out Homelander, and that's when Soldier Boy finally snaps in a way that I wasn't prepared for, and is like, "You're not gonna hurt my son," and he begins to. Well, weirdly enough, he technically doesn't kill any of the comedians there. He has Marathon Man do it, so he runs around like pinball and puts the people in front of him, but for Marathon Man to run into and get obliterated, which I thought was kind of funny. And then at the end, he basically lubes up the whole floor, and Marathon Man trips and falls, and then he breaks one of Marathon Man's legs and wants to know exactly what's going on with the V1. So he admits that, he doesn't have it, but he knows Bombshell should have it because he was talking about something like that, but stated he didn't know where he was. And so he snaps his other leg and is basically like, "You're going to tell me everything I need to know." And he's like, "I told you everything." And then that's when Homelander comes in and stomps his head. Granted, just once because he's Homelander. And Homelander's like, "How come? What happened?" And he's like, "I took care of everything." He's like, "But why?" And he's like, "Well, you know what? You could have killed me at the base, at the fort, and you didn't. So I paid you back." And he's like, "Apparently Bombshell does have it, but I don't necessarily know exactly where he is, but we're gonna have to find him." And that's kind of how that piece ends. Oh, and then he mentions about Firecracker and how he's been sleeping with her, and he's basically stating that he's gonna stop because her pillow talk kind of sucked. And then um, we have Firecracker's story. So basically, we have her meet with her original pastor, who basically is like, "Hey, we can't even afford the franchise, and also like Homelander is God. Like that's not an easy sell. And let's be honest, he's an American hero and everything else, but God, he is not." And she's like, "Well, you're gonna have to do this. Like, I'll see what I can talk about and get people to kind of help you out, but you're gonna have to go on board." And he's like, "We'll see what happens." So what happens next is she gets the father, the priest for the Democratic Church of America, to come up to her and be like, "Hey, like I just heard from the Bible people, like it could be put to be ready for Easter 100%. I wonder if you're having some issues with Homelander being God, excuse me, being God." And she's like, "Oh, of course not." She goes, "I'm so happy that they could do that. I didn't realize they could." Um, we see her having these doubts about all these things, but however, she decides to realize that things won't be great if she doesn't go on board. So she goes on the television stating how the church that she grew up in was not good, that he was a child molester, the priest, and that because that they are not joining the Democratic Church of America, that they clearly are a problem and need to be removed. And obviously she's crying and everything else on camera. However, she's trying to hold it in. So she throws away her little statue of Jesus and goes back to her room where Homelander is. And she's like, Homelander, like, I respect you, everything else. He's like, I heard you denounced me as your god. She goes, I just had a moment lapse. I've been the most loyal out of everyone here. And then he grabs her head and smashes it into the statue where she is now dead. His biggest follower is now removed. And it ends with her being dead, and it's kind of sad because she was the only one that was really for him. Truly sad. But the next episode is obviously going to be the Bombshell episode where we're going to be finding Bombshell. But we're going to have to wait and see how that goes because I don't know exactly what that's going to look like. We'll have to wait and see. But overall, let me know what you guys thought about this episode down in the comments below. Did you like it? Did you not? And why? And as always, if you like the content you see, please make sure to like and subscribe down below. Other than that, this is going to be Beastly Eel signing out. Have a wonderful night. Bye-bye.